you can have a cooperative attitude in a multipolar world where multiple poles work with each other and try to come to common solutions for global challenges. The United Nations is arguably one of the greatest and the most successful peace projects in human history, and created in the aftermath of the biggest calamity in human history, that was the Second World War. It has served as a very important platform that helped come about a series of amazing things, especially when it comes to development of large swaths of the world. And by and large, despite some transgressions, the past 80 years have been the years of peace. If you look from the perspective of the conflict between the great powers. But today, I think that the United Nations is in trouble. It's in trouble because essentially it is a club of member states. And when member states choose to cooperate, then the club is successful, and it expedites and accelerates the fulfilling of the hopes and dreams of the member states. But on the other hand, when the member states decide to be confrontational, when they view their interaction mostly through a zero-sum lens, then the club is struggling. I believe that we live in a geopolitical recession. I believe that geopolitics is also cyclical. So there are periods of boom followed by the periods of bust. We live in a bust period, we live in a recession period, which is when actors do not have trust, they don't cooperate, they don't negotiate in good faith for one reason or another. And during the recession, international organizations struggle, they come across as ineffective, they fail to deliver global goods that they are expected to deliver to the peoples of the world. And then the question is, what can you do? It's not that the UN can do anything about it, it's the member states that can do something about it. And there are essentially three things that I believe member states can do. Number one is to reform the institution so that it better reflects the realities of the moment and it is better equipped to deal with the challenges of the contemporary era. Number two is to build new institutions and organizations, because if the old ones do not function or can't be reformed, then you build new ones, or invest more energy into cooperation within alternative international organizations, not necessarily global, right? And for example, BRICS is one such organization, and so instead of trying to reform, you engage more deeply in alternative organizations. And then the third thing you can do is to take matters into your own hands and do things unilaterally. I mean, do what you must as a nation state according to how you view the priorities for your nation. What the new US government is doing is one example in the economic sphere, in the trade field, you know, introducing unilateral tariffs on trading partners. And I believe that in the next years, we're going to see a combination of all three playing out. There will be attempts at reform of the UN and other organizations. There will be a rise in prominence of alternative organizations. And, in my opinion, unfortunately, there will be more examples of unilateral action around the world. So all these are going to play out concurrently. And that's what I expect is going to happen in the coming years. I think that China has been for a while already a country that has been a stabilizer, making very positive contribution to the multilateral discourse in the UN and otherwise. I hope that China is gonna invest additional efforts in trying to push for reforms that are necessary in the UN through a cooperative framework, so that there is a less zero-sum attitude and more of a win-win attitude prevailing in the United Nations. And as a permanent member of the Security Council, China's role is critical in this regard. China is not the only permanent member of the Security Council, so it's not going to be all up to China. But I think that China has the capacity to lead by example. It has been doing it so far, and large parts of the world are happy to follow this lead. The lead in like a cooperative attitude that is equitable, just, and treats each and every country with respect. We do live in a multipolar world already, and it's been a reality for, I'd say, over a decade now. It is a multipolar world with various poles of geopolitical gravity, if you will, and China is certainly one of them. You can have a cooperative attitude in a multipolar world where multiple poles work with each other and try to come to common solutions for global challenges. I very much hope that we are going to eventually end up in that situation, which accounts for a stable equilibrium for the world. Right now, we're not there. Right now, we have a multipolar world with competing, or in certain cases, fiercely competing attitudes, say, between Russia and the West. I mean, Russia is definitely one of the poles in this multipolar order. And that pole is in a very fierce confrontation now with another pole, which is the Western pole. Now there are perhaps some bifurcations within the Western pole into the United States and Europe, because they don't seem to be seeing eye to eye on all issues, in particular issues related to Russia, security, and transatlantic trade. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But as I said, I very much hope that further down the road there's going to be enough wisdom and courage in all quarters so that we shift into something more cooperative, and that it is not going to take us to go from recession to depression before we bounce off. Geopolitical depression means global war. We had global wars in the past. I very much hope that it's not going to take another global war to come to a solution that is a peaceful solution bringing about UN. I mean, UN was the result of the end of the global depression of the Second World War. I hope we are not going to go through another global depression, because given the technology that we have in our hands today, a global war might be the last war. Not in the sense that from there on there'll be peace and love, but that nobody survives, as a matter of fact. I very much hope we're not going to go through that experience.